Dark-skinned shorty had to start up with them white folks. Thought it was a drought, now they gave the show to Michael. No, we moved the word count, no, we got the God flow. This ain't what you heard about, this that good convo. Good convo, good convo, good convo. This that good convo. I don't know.
I'm not trying to get this coronavirus.
Nah, I don't got the corona. I promise I don't have the corona. I hope the tape is running. I came in, I said my voice hurt. Now he said, you got that corona? No, he said you got that swine flu. I said we on that corona, catch up. And since then I've been, several accusations have been lodged to me of possessing.
Not several, just only me.
2. Because Jonah in the cut said,
he said we are pretty sure it's not you. He's on your side.
Is this a cancelable conversation already? Because I know like niggas just joke about shit super early, and it's like, nah, a couple niggas have died off that shit.
I don't know.
I didn't want to come in. I didn't want to come in a new decade like this. Fucked up.
Canceled immediately.
The day before my birthday at that.
Oh no!
Like
happy birthday!
Appreciate you. Yeah. It's like, it's my birthday. You're gonna cancel me on my birthday. Jesus fucking Christ. You know, hey, let me jump into this. Well, first of all, in case y'all ain't know, this is Good Convo. It's Michael Penn II, a.k.a. Crash Prez, rapper with a podcast. I try to say that shit every time now.
Hell yeah.
I'm in the building with NNAMDI, all caps when you spell it now. I see you change the stylization.
Yeah, I like that. NNAMDI, all caps when you spell it. That's my full name now.
You had a longer name. That was like NNAMDI's like secret super.
NNAMDI super duper secret side project. Yeah.
You have many AKAs, many aliases, many names.
Yeah, not anymore. It's just NNAMDI, all caps when you spell it. I love that. I'm gonna say it all the time.
Did you come up on Doom?
Did I do what?
On Doom, MF Doom. Did you like him?
I love MF Doom, but not like obsessed. Definitely, I love that Food album. Mm-hmm. It was, I would say I'm obsessed with that album, but like, I'm not like a Doom head, I don't think.
That's why I was the tagline's like all caps when you spell the man's name for Doom. He said that.
Oh, okay. So I don't even get that. So I'm not that big of a Doom fan.
I'm just throwing you the lob though.
Yeah, he's incredible. He's like one of the greatest of all time.
Love him. One of my personal goats for sure. I was asking him like the point of cancellation. It wasn't like in my questions or nothing, but I was listening to Lego. Is it? So I know it's spelled ego, but is it ego?
It's ego.
So Lego, my ego. You like one of your verses. You're talking about like this sort of relationship that could go one way, could go the other, and and like the person, you didn't want to like piss her off because she's like, she could go on Facebook and say you're all this, that, and the third. Like, just that was like a wild line, I think, to walk, because like I never heard it articulated like that in story form.
Yeah,
I don't even know what the question is. It just made me think of that.
I think I like when I was writing that song, I wasn't writing it from my own personal perspective. I was just writing it from like a lot of perspectives that I had seen. And I think it's very important. The moral of the story is communication. Because at the end of the day, like you can say whatever he said, she said shit, but like if you have good communication, a lot of that shit can be avoided. So that was the point of the song. But definitely I've had some people be like, this song is so chauvinistic. And I'm just like, really? Like, I could get how you could listen to the first verse and be like, okay, this dude's a dick. But like when you listen to the second chorus, it's like, okay, something, I don't know.
So you just try to offset it.
Yeah. Like, just trying to have a conversation about communication.
Yes, like where do you, I know you play like a million characters, like your universe is so vast, it's so expansive. So it's like the more I listen to your like extensive back catalog, I'm like, there's no way that I could just pin you to one particular thing because you just embody so many characters. But I know like myths of authenticity in art, especially around like black artists, it's like, well, no, you have to tell your story and it has to be this way and it has to be linear, but you don't live by that shit at all.
Yeah, I think everyone that is living by that shit is lying. Everyone that's just like, this is all I do. Like a lot of rappers who are like, oh, I'm just tough and hard all the time. Like that's not true. It's just like, easily marketable if you have like a specific thing that you do, I feel like.
Or like a specific upbringing, which can contribute to specific stereotypes. Or like just the same 5. These are the 5 black men on the shelf we can sell.
Yeah, and I think people who grow up in these different experiences like will latch on to something like, this is what I'm supposed to be. This is what I'm supposed to be. And I try not to never think like, what am I supposed to do? Like, what should I do? I just kind of am free to do whatever comes to my head, which is a gift, I guess, a nice little gift I was blessed with.
And that transcends everything. It transcends characters. It transcends genre. It transcends all those things. We're going to get into all that in a second.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Yeah, the backdrop, I'm like, especially off the week that we just came off of, the weekend, I should say. Tyler finally got a Grammy. I don't know what your position is on Tyler, the Creator.
He's incredible.
I love him. I love him so much. I'm like
so much growth. And
yeah, Wolfgang stan, like
amazing.
Since Bastard, like me, big stan. But there was the after speech where he was talking about how it's like a 50-50 thing because if this black man gets a Grammy and Igor's not even a fucking rap album. Like, it's not.
There's like one rapper or song or one
like two or three. He didn't start rapping until like 10 minutes in.
Yeah.
And they kind of just like give that as like a trinket of here, like, are you satisfied? And knowing Tyler's career, like he's wanted a Grammy his entire thing. Now to see him get it is great. And it's like, if you're black and you're doing something that's not normative or not the 5 people on the shelf, then we're gonna put you back on the shelf regardless.
Lumped into that hip hop category, which is so wild. It's like, are you even using your ears? Like people, it's just, it's a pretty racist thing, but like it's so ingrained that people don't even realize that it's being racist. It's crazy,
right? And as somebody who's in so many different spheres and spaces, and you collaborate with so many different kinds of folks and release so many different types of music, like, have you ever struggled with that or butt heads with anybody when it comes to categorizing you or knowing how to market yourself in the scene or grander?
All the time people miscategorize my music, but I also try to not categorize it myself, so it leaves it up to everyone else's interpretation. And I don't know who said this, but there's like a famous saying that like once you make art and put it out in the world, it's like not your decision to decide like what people make of it.
Right.
And so I try to just follow that rule and just keep putting out art. And I can occasionally tell people like what I was going for, but I feel like just use your ears. And if you're using your ears and like your brain, you can come up with like your own way to describe something. Like it doesn't have to be described in like these are the 5 genres.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, like these are the one. If you're black, here you go. You get the R&B and you get the rap and you can get maybe some blues in there too. It's like we don't have to stick to these descriptions. It's just for marketing. It's just for sales. But like if you're actually trying to communicate about art and music, like you use feelings, you use emotions, you use different things to describe it other than just like genre names.
I ask you that because it's like, it's interesting to me to just see how like genre-less or like genre fluid is becoming like a more normative sort of default for people to describe themselves as. But even that conversation is so exclusively like, it's a privilege in itself. You get to see like, insert white artist here gets to do that shit and you're a visionary. Black artist does that shit. It's you're confused. You have no direction. What are you doing?
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
It's boring. It's boring as fuck.
Yeah, I think a lot of these streaming platforms are trying to lean towards having like kind of genre-less playlists, but they're also very curated towards a certain sound. So you'll never really get anything that's like jarring or abrasive, you know. A lot of them are trying to be like some sort of like mellow, feel good, but still kind of blending genres, which is a step in a good direction, but also it's just like it still seems so in one pocket to me.
Right. It's like one time when I uploaded something on Spotify for me, like I saw the playlist that it ended up in, and it was like the edge of escape room and like the brink of like alternative hip hop. Like just the insert adjective of this thing you will never get listens. Good luck, nigga. Like that's what I read it as. Like have fun with that shit.
Good luck, bitch.
Like, you give a shit or you're different. They might as well do like the black and different playlist. Wow. Even like they do like Black History Month playlists. They do like fucking like struggle protest playlists. It's like where there's a fucking line.
Yeah, I like to give people a challenge. I like to make people a little bit uncomfortable. Not very uncomfortable, like just enough to make them like rethink maybe things that they've been thinking the same way their whole lives. So people that are playlisting my music, good luck with that shit, bitch. There's a place for everything, you know. There's people that will like everything. You just got to find the people that will fuck with your music.
And it's more of a default too. I feel like younger folks and more generations turn over. Like how old are you?
29.
29. So I'm about to be 26, and like just the people that are like a little younger than us, it's like that's not this is white boy shit or this is like black kid shit. I feel like there's way less of that, even though obviously segregation still plays a huge role.
Yeah, it's
okay for whichever kid from wherever to like all kinds of shit because there's so much access to everything.
It's just so accessible. That's why. Yeah, kids don't give a fuck about that. They just. I can swear right. I've been swearing this whole time.
You can do. No, see,
I'm just like,
no, we open season.
Shirt. Shirt. Yeah, kids don't really care about that. They have the internet like since they're babies, so it's just like whatever's there, whatever's popular, whatever catches their eye, it's all good. It's not as split as it was even like 10 years ago, you know. Mm-hmm.
Did you remember a time without internet?
Yeah, I remember when I got internet. It was
dial up.
I was on that AOL.
Hell yeah, the little demo joints.
Yeah,
it's like, Miles, get off the damn computer. I gotta get on the phone. Like,
yeah, I got the internet, and I was immediately like, naked pictures of Tyra Banks. Search.
That ass.
Immediately.
Like, you just wasted no time. You got
no time. I'm just like, oh.
You weren't on Leapfrog. You weren't on like none of that shit. You're like, we gonna get right to it.
And if you know anything about like typing in celebrity naked pics, there's a lot of like fake. It's mostly just like Photoshop of like people's faces on other people's bodies that like don't look correct at all. It's good stuff.
I remember when like Pete Wentz's like dick pic was like a huge thing to where they even referenced it like it's like I think the Thanks for the Memories video, right? Yeah, they like mentioned it and like that was a huge thing, but I wasn't like super paying attention to nudes at that point, you know. Yeah. Like this is cancelable shit.
Nah. You think it's easier to hack someone's email like back in the day on dial-up, or is it easier now?
Way easier now because niggas got iClouds and shit. Like niggas need burner phones. Okay. You probably need an account that's not attached to shit. Like that's a whole other weird conversation, especially considering all the people shit that were getting leaked. And like there was like when the baby shit got leaked, but it was like a porn star, and then
it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's messed up.
It's fucked up. But then the porn star was like, "That's me," and it's like, you know, promoting the OnlyFans and got more subscribers off of that shit. But all these people are thinking, "Wow, finally we see the baby's dick." But it's
that
like,
shit is so creepy. I was like reading all the comments like. After that happened, he just posted like some picture of him like in LA somewhere, and all the comments were these ladies just being like, I saw that dick.
And he's like, please fuck me, I beg you.
I'm like, oh my goodness, this is messed up. Yeah. The internet is a crazy place. I don't want any part of it.
It's like I know he sells like a lot of like sexual shit, but even so, like that's still like a black man. There's so many connotations to that. The nigga Jonathan Kirk II or Jr. He tweeted, I don't send nudes. The nigga the baby who talks about, you know what I'm saying, liking him ghetto and pretty and fucking whatever. All he said was, I don't send nudes. It's like that's still a, you know, even though it's not him, that's still a nigga who, it's a fucking man. That's a violation of privacy.
Yeah.
It's like fuck the in-joke shit.
Yeah.
You still don't use socials at all for real?
No, I use socials.
You do?
I'm just like
kind of stay back.
I go through phases. Where I just tweet like the most outlandish, like dumb shit I could think of, and then I go through phases where I'm like super reserved and don't even go on the internet. It just depends. Depends on how I'm feeling.
It's kind of like I think an older thing too, because even just recently, like there's a switch in my head where I'm like, I don't care about this shit as much.
Yeah,
I want to be like working on things. I don't want to just have to constantly upload what the fuck I'm doing.
Oh yeah, I hate it. I hate doing that.
But especially like someone who's just so DIY motivated, like if anything, I feel like people have more of an expectation of folks who don't got shit to keep up with motherfuckers who have budgets and labels and dedicated teams to run socials. Like how have you navigated that, especially seeing Sooper become what it is now?
Yeah, so I've been doing everything myself up until like 2 years ago, and now I started Sooper with my friend Glenn Curran, and my friend Sen Morimoto joined on later. But yeah, the past 2 years, it's kind of been a very big shift in. It hasn't changed the workload. The workload has gotten more just because of what the things we're trying to accomplish and do now, but I have Glenn's help like on everything now. Like we kind of go back and forth on everything that we're gonna do. I still control like all my decisions, but it's nice to have someone who's just like helping you. Like he helps answer emails. He does all this shit that I don't want to do, and he does it like a lot better than me. So it's like having someone on your team is very important. And yeah, I'm like, I don't even know what I would be doing now if I didn't have another person. It would be impossible. Like it gets to points where you need other people. And I tried to put that off for so long. I'm just like, I'm gonna do everything myself. I'm gonna make all my videos. I'm gonna record every track myself. I'm gonna mix it all myself. Yeah. I'm gonna make all my own artwork.
Do my own taxes.
Yeah. And then I was just like, what am I? Why? Like, why? Is this falling? This mic's falling a little bit.
Oh, yeah, I do see that.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, like, people don't really give a shit about that. I was reading this thing, I think it was with Rick Rubin.
He was like, thank you.
I'm making this mic way worse. I think it was Rick Rubin. He was talking to someone who was also like a kind of DIY person who does everything themselves. And then he was like, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Like, make stuff with your friends. No one's going to look back at this and be like, wow, he did everything himself all the time. It's like, it's impressive, but like not as impressive as just making the best art you can possibly make. Exactly. Like with the community or with your friends. Like that's more impressive and more like lasts longer, has a bigger impact.
Yeah, we had Kaina up here a couple weeks ago, and Sen was actually, present watching it, and she definitely emphasized like having that community aspect and just having the moments where you're doing everything and kind of just surveying what you like, what you don't like, trying to get a hand in every pot so you can know how to apply it to yourself or folks around you, but then having that support system and having just folks that can do other shit for you or just know what you need has been imperative to her growth and to Sooper's growth in general.
Yeah, it's been very important.
What's like some of the most immediate differences that you've seen when Drool was the first time you had extra support?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what are some of the immediate differences as far as like reach, scope, reaction?
Well, yeah, right after, I think that the universe rewards people for making drastic decisions. And when Drool came out, or when I was working on Drool, that's like when I officially decided like I'm never working any other job again. Like I'm never working for anyone else. I'm only doing my own shit. I'm gonna do it how I want to do it. And I think just like actually deciding that and moving towards that, I feel like the universe kind of rewarded me. With Glenn, we started Sooper before Drool came out, but like it was kind of in the works. And we linked up with these people, father-daughter, Jesse Frick, who is like, has been doing this shit for a long time, so she knows the whole game. And friends that I was supposed to tour with gave her my record because I sent it to them early. And they're like, can we send this to someone? I'm like, okay, I guess. Yeah. So I was like a little bit uncomfortable. I don't like sharing stuff before it's done, which is another thing I've learned like you have to do. But yeah, they sent it to her and she immediately hit me up and was like, I want to help put this out. So we linked with her, like Sooper and father-daughter like co-released that. And she was a big part in me and Glenn learning like how to be a record label and like actually what we need to do to put out releases that have any sort of splash or impact and help the artist we're trying to work with. So yeah, that was like the first experience with outside help that made me realize, okay, you can't do everything yourself. Even if you want to, you'll wear yourself out, be too exhausted to make the art you want to make because you'll be tired from doing all the bullshit, like not all the bullshit, all the stuff outside of making the art. You'll get exhausted if you do everything. So.
The other side of the battle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now, yeah, I still do a lot of it, but like the majority of the like brute force work, I would say Glenn does. He's up before me, always answering emails before me, and he's just like works so hard, and it's great. And like it fuels me to work harder too. So it's good to have people like that.
Hell yeah. Taking it back a little bit, so you grew up with like pianos in the crib. You had folks that would sing and play music. So why do you think you were the one that gravitated towards music the hardest out of your siblings?
That's a good question. I think it has a lot to do with being the youngest and having maybe less eyes on me to do other shit.
The youngest of how many?
Of 4.
Of 4. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like the oldest gets the worst of it all the time because parents have no idea. They're just like, we never did this before. And then the second one comes along and they're like, all right, older one, you take care of the second one. And they're like, oh, we have another cute thing. Then the older one gets jealous and they're focusing on this cuter baby. Yeah. And then by the third and fourth, they're just like, all right.
Yeah, hey,
we got this.
Yeah.
John Mulaney has this skit about getting a babysitter that was like 16 years old to watch the kid. And he's like, that's kind of like getting a horse to watch a dog. And I feel like that's kind of what parents do after a while. They're just like, let's let all these other kids, they'll figure it out. Just make sure he doesn't like put his finger in a socket or like drink bleach.
Right, like y'all got group chats and shit, right? Like just text each other about it.
So I feel like I was just less watched maybe, and I could get away with a little bit more. So they're most of the time less annoyed if I was like tinkering than if like an older kid was tinkering or something. I don't know. That's what I think might have been the case, but I don't know.
I like read that you used to like people used to lend you instruments and shit, and then you would just keep it, and niggas would be like, "Oh, well, that's NNAMDI's now, I guess." Like,
yeah, it's not that I would just like keep it. They would forget about it, and they would see me using it so much. Oh, excuse me. They would see me using it so much, and they'd be like, "Well, I haven't used it for like 7 months, so
that's you.
Yeah, there you go.
Turn up."
Yeah, that happened a lot. Especially, I used to like live at this place that did show. I used to like have shows at my house.
Pancake House?
Pancake House.
I got a question about that one. Yeah.
And I lived at this place called Swerp Mansion. We all had shows, and people would leave gear, like bands on tour, and I'd message them and be like, "Hey, what do you want me to do with this?" And they'd be like, "Oh, we'll figure it out." And it's like, I can ship it to you. And sometimes they would just never get it, and I'd be like, "All right."
That don't sound very punk, G. Like these niggas got like
you got access guitars, like
yeah.
I think a lot of it boiled down to like people like not wanting to pay shipping costs. Like, I paid $60 for this guitar. I'm not gonna pay like $40 to ship it.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah. It's like somebody leave like a Fender or some shit, just post it up. It's like $500-$600. Niggas like, man, fuck that. That's you. I got another one.
This dude left like a whole ass guitar cab at my crib for years, and my friend Dylan just started using it. He's like, it's been a year. I'm gonna start using it. And then he like painted it and shit, and then we went on tour, and then the dude came to a show and was just like, why did you do that? And he's just like, it's been so long, I didn't think you wanted it back. And the dude, the sadness in his face was just,
it's like this R guitar
and
now,
he was
nigga.
Like, yeah, I wasn't really thinking about it until I just saw it right now. And he's like, yeah, so it's fine.
It's fucking clear. Yeah, it shows, nigga.
But that was a great experience.
That little paint got niggas shook.
Damn, I forgot about that. I'm going to bring that up to Dylan next time I see him.
Goodness gracious. Yeah, so back to Pancake House, it's like, it takes a certain cut of person to just like deal with all the smoke and mirrors and the logistics of running some DIY shit, making sure the cops don't get called, making sure people don't take shit, making sure people don't leave shit, apparently. So like, what motivated you to see that through in an early basis, and who made the pancakes? Oh. It's not some easy shit to do.
People are gonna be pissed at me for this, but I didn't make the pancakes, but I called it NNAMDI's Pancake House, which is, I know. I was the boss. I was handling the business side of things. I was like setting up the bands and stuff.
Yeah. Neither Dave nor Wendy makes the fucking hamburgers, bro.
But my brother would make the pancakes like at almost every show. Like, yeah. He did the work, and he makes the best pancakes. He puts like cinnamon and some other secret shit I don't even know, but they're so good. We had this one show at our house it was like a punk show. And I remember this one kid who would keep coming to the kitchen and kind of doing like he had Alzheimer's. He would like pretend he had Alzheimer's. He'd be like, oh, you're making pancakes in here. I guess I'll have one. And he came back like 5 times like, oh, you're making pancakes in here. I guess I'll have one.
It's like always that one.
He did it like 5 times in a row. Like, and I was like, I like this guy.
It's like, more pancakes for you. Take that.
Yeah, but I didn't think about cops really that much until they showed up. Mm-hmm. It wasn't stressful. It was just really fun. I just loved all the bands, and it didn't seem like work. It wasn't work at the time.
Especially like on some young shit. Like
yeah, I was
shit's
young.
on,
Like, I would never do that shit now. People are like, "Can you help me book the show?" I'm like, "God damn!" It's like, can I do something else for you? Like, I'll do literally anything else for you.
Oh my god.
But yeah, it definitely has to do with being young and not having other priorities.
Having all types of time, no bills to pay.
So much time, zero bills.
Yeah, G. We used to fucking like, I grew up in Maryland and shit.
Yeah.
In DC, we used to go to this place is called New Vegan now, but it used to be called Everlasting Life. And every weekend, niggas was at Everlasting Life.
Yeah.
Just turning the fuck up. No one's making money. We thought it was the biggest shit in the world to us.
Yeah.
And then you realize like, oh, this is just only these 50 people gave a shit. But it was so special.
That's special. Yeah.
It's special.
Those are like the important periods of people's lives. Like what kind of factors into what they do after that. You know, I feel like if I hadn't been in like bands in high school and done shows at my parents' house, like I wouldn't have known it was possible, because bands that played my house like blew up and shit, like, and I'm like, these motherfuckers played
In the crib.
yeah, they played in my basement, and now they're like playing these big ass shows. And I would see that, like I would see bands play like very small venues and then pop off, and I'm just like, I'm gonna do it. Like, why not?
Who jumped you in the DIY thing? Like, who put you on?
Who put me on? I would say there were a few bands at my high school of like kids that were, when I was like a freshman, kids that were juniors and seniors. There was this band called Erfurt, which is a park in Lansing where I grew up, like went to middle school and high school, and they named themselves after the park. Yeah, this kid like Tommy Borst, who like threw house shows a lot, and a couple other people like Joey Seeger, who was a drummer. He was in this like grindcore band. I forget what they're called right now. But yeah, just like older kids in my high school that were doing it and like booking it and like booking their own tours like through MySpace and stuff. And I was just like, damn, that's cool. I didn't feel like I had much like in common with a lot of them, but just like going to the shows and like watching that made me be like, hey, this is something that I could get into.
This is doable.
Yeah.
I was just talking to somebody about how like in music industry shit, even if you're not doing the exact same thing that someone's doing, like it's like everyone feels like a coworker because they could be.
Yeah.
Or like even if you're on different floors, it's like y'all doing like variations of the same shit.
Yeah. Definitely. Oh, also, I think I have to mention my first show ever was outside of like church, because I would play in church. And
Oh, you did play in church?
yeah, I played drums in church
Tight.
a little bit. But my first like DIY show ever was with this kid, Matt Novak, who went under the name The Encyclopedias. And we played outside at this like, I think it was some sort of barbecue. And he asked me to play drums for him, and it was just us two. And I like got this high from that I was like, oh my God, this is so dope.
You can't turn back.
I was riding that for like a week. So shout out Matt Novak, the homie.
What was on the plate at the barbecue?
I don't remember much about it other than the show.
The endorphins took over the rest of the memory. Like,
I remember it started outside, and then as the night went on, bands went inside. I think it might have been at a VFW type place.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
which are surprisingly tight usually.
Yeah.
Like if the right motherfuckers is running, not being on some racist shit or some weird shit. A lot of tight shit can go down to the VFW.
Oh, definitely. I've played my fair share of shows in VFWs, and majority good. People get kind of rowdy, which is dope.
It's like this weird like military like
Yeah.
bar. Like,
You're like, what does this all mean?
is that subversive or is it like you get in where you fit in?
I'm just like, yeah, I'm taking over this space. I don't care what it is. It's my space now.
It's my shit. Just rip a flag down.
My space.
So, talking to that experience, like you've spoken at length about how you always maneuvered like a multitude of worlds. I mean, and there'd be times in your life where you would go to different Chicagos in the same day. You would be downtown for class. You'd be in Inglewood. You'd be in the burbs. You'd be here. You'd be there. And you came up in the church as well. So
Yeah.
I know I can relate to the feeling because it's sometimes when you're in so many spaces, even if you're getting love from different places, people will look at you like you're weird. But then it kind of feels like nowhere is home sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
How do you think you've weathered being a bridge between so many different cultures? And do you feel like you found a home, whether that's sonic, whether that's a certain space with a certain type of people?
I definitely always feel like an outsider, which is maybe more so a mental thing than an actuality thing. It's just something that I have trouble getting over. But I think like through music, I've found like different communities where I feel comfortable in, even if I still am kind of an outlier in all of those communities. Like doing Sooper and Kaina and San, meeting them, like, is very important to me. I feel like even though I don't like hang out with people that often, if I'm hanging out with you, it's because like I fuck with you like heavy. And Kaina and San are like few of the people that can get me out of my house like to do anything, because I very much feel better
In the cut?
Yeah, like I feel better kind of isolated in my own thoughts most of the time. I definitely I would say I'm 10%, where I'm 90% would prefer to be by myself, and then 10% like, oh my God, I need human contact right now. So
Are you like a loner by default?
Yeah.
Not like in a negative connotation, because like
Yeah, no, definitely. I was trying to think of a different way to describe it, but yeah, I just prefer
solitude.
I just prefer solitude. Yeah,
Space.
It's not that I don't like being around other people. It's just that I feel like maybe I'm the most comfortable like when I can just be with my own thoughts, even if they sometimes drive me insane. It's like I like I like the spiraling, going crazy, and then getting to a point of realization, which sometimes when there's like outside factors and other people, it's hard to do that.
Too many people's thoughts.
Yeah. I don't like other people's I don't like getting bombarded with opinions, and that's another thing with like why I take breaks from social media. Sometimes I love it. Sometimes I'm like, I want to like spread my eyes open and just like stare at TV.
All the smoke.
Yeah. Right. And then like other times I'm just like, I literally don't want to hear another human voice. I'll go days without talking myself too, which is, I feel like, a pretty powerful thing. Like once you try to make art or like try to communicate with someone after like only being in your thoughts and not having spoke for days.
I need to take some notes from you because my shit is tore.
Yeah. So I think to answer your question, I found several different communities where I feel comfortable, but I feel like I am a standalone item, you know? I don't feel like I'll ever feel comfortable in any community or position, like to the point where it's just like, this is my home. Like Chicago, I've been here. I've like pretty much been raised here from the burbs to the actual city. But I wouldn't say it feels like my home.
Still?
Yeah.
So even from years ago in your press, you said that. It's like,
yeah, it doesn't.
You practice here.
And I know, like, it's not the environment. I've realized that it's not the environment. It's me. Like, and I'm like, will I ever find a place that'll feel home, or will I just feel like this forever? So who knows? I don't know. Live and learn.
You know, in a way, when I had Kaina up here, it's like we were like really connecting on some Aquarius shit.
Yeah.
So like that's vibe. And I feel connected to you in a way where it's like, you know, you grow up playing in bands with white punks, and then niggas you're around are like, well, what the fuck are you on? But then you're around niggas kicking it where y'all do different shit, and it's like, that's kind of weird. Like, this is not like this. So it's just like a constant in between where you love people to some degree, like to some extent, to just build that community, but it can just feel so stuck. Like your home is the island, even though you can go visit over here, go kick it over there. Yeah,
it was weird growing up, especially. Yeah, I would play in all these punk bands and like weird rock shit. And like the majority of the people in the bands were like white people, and I'm just I had to experience shows and touring through this different perspective, like being the only black person, and yeah, just like being a part. Like my family's from Nigeria, and being part of that culture, and like growing up in like mixed churches and all these things. I'll be around a lot of black people in that area. And then they would hear that I like make music, and they're like, "Oh, what type of music you make?" And I'm like,
show
"Oh,
me."
I'm playing in this rock band." They're like, "You play with all these white boys and shit?" And I'm just like, "Yeah." So it's like a weird
off top,
Yeah.
Especially generationally, it's like, you would okay. And then some people your age might be like,
playing all this white boy music,
yeah,
and
white
I was just
boy
like,
music, exactly.
I don't know. I like rap too. I shouldn't have to say that to you.
Right.
It's
And
just
even
like,
if you didn't, like,
yeah,
that's not a
it's
default
fine.
hashtag. Not all niggas. Like,
yeah, it's just like let me play this weird rock music.
let me crank my Fall Out Boy in fucking peace.
Yeah,
Nigga.
I chimed in.
That's
Panic at the Disco?
That's Panic.
It's all the same shit.
Nah, look, them niggas came out jocking Fall Out Boy off top.
You're right. You're right.
That song High Hopes, I thought it was a fucking Fall Out Boy song. That shit made me.
It's not?
It's not.
I didn't know that.
It's a Panic song.
Damn, I'm canceled for not knowing Fall Out Boy. That's Chicago
That's
legends.
Wilmette, nigga.
Wilmette legends.
Shout out Wilmette, Illinois.
Suburban legends, baby.
Yes, indeed. I had a homie from Wilmette. His name is Jordan.
Hell yeah.
He put me on to you a brick ago. He's like, "You ever heard of NNAMDI?" Like this Jewish kid. I'm like,
shout
"What's
out
this?"
Wilmette.
Yeah, shout out Jordan. Shout out my nigga Jordan. So yeah, okay, we got the genreless thing out the way, the transcending thing out the way. So look, let's get into this aesthetic. And by the way, in case y'all forgot, this is good convo right now. Vanden, Me Please podcast. We with NNAMDI, all caps when you spell it.
Caps when you spell it.
Make sure you check out BRAT is on the way. Pre-order up right now. Order up right now. Go in the store and go get that.
Yes, please.
Now, to your aesthetic, right? I can't seem to find a word that pins it. You could say oddball. You could say eccentric.
Yeah.
You could even say like different with a capital D. And none of this shit seems to stick. And something that I think attracts me to your work and attracts so many people to your work is that there's a very like an evasiveness about it that we've already discussed. Yeah. But like, how do you struggle with that sort of evasiveness to try to kind of figure out where you land sometimes? But more so, how do you keep things interesting for yourself and for other people who may be checking in with you?
All right, I'll start with the aesthetic thing.
Okay, I'll be asking 3 questions at once sometimes.
That's totally fine. Yeah, I think people should just. People are so. How do I phrase this? People are so easy to jump to try to calm their anxiety, to try to tame an uncomfortable situation, to try to understand something so quick. But I feel like people should just stew for a little bit. Just like stew in not knowing something. You know, just don't know something for a second. It's fine. Like you don't have to be able to pinpoint everything. Not everything. I don't know.
Just keep your take to yourself. Like you don't need an opinion immediately.
Yeah, just have some mystery. Let something just be. Let something just be, you know, like for a little bit before you dive into like, what can I say this is?
I go on my NNAMDI deep dive. I'm like, this nigga's giving somebody a haircut. This nigga's in a park. I'm like, but I can't look away. Like,
yeah, and I've never tried to match a certain aesthetic as a whole. I'll do it from project to project because I think like having a cohesive project is important. But as a whole and like art as in general, I don't want to make art with any restrictions. I just want to make stuff that I feel like I want to make things that will have a definite impact. Like if I'm going for something, I want to like accomplish, like I want this song to make people sad. I want this song to make people happy. I want the emotions to be there. But yeah, there's no rhyme or reason. There's no end game. There's no like definite answer. There's no format to follow. And that's why I make art. That's like the best thing about it. Because like if I was trying to do anything in particular, every time I made music, if I was like always trying to write a hit or if I was always trying to write some weird stuff,
it would sound like it.
Yeah, it would sound like it. And I think in some cases, like you can hear that because
you swing for the fences often.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm just like, let's go crazy. And sometimes like I hone myself in. I'm just like, I want to make something that more like a broader amount of people can enjoy. So sometimes I think about it in that senses, but I never try to. There's really no aesthetic. I just kind of do whatever I like.
You're the aesthetic.
Yeah, whatever is comfortable, just based off life experiences, and I don't know how to describe the aesthetic. I wouldn't, if anyone asked me, I wouldn't describe it. That's for other people to describe.
It's why I struggled figuring out what to ask you in particular, because it's like I can't just ask you one
Let's
direction.
talk about life.
Let's talk about life, and that's what
all art stems from. Is just experiences, and I try to capture that. I try to capture some of my experiences and some of the things that I've learned, and then whatever's in my imagination. I try to just keep that youthful imagination.
So that is my question. When you world build, right? When you embody these characters, when do you know it's time to leave pieces of yourself in, pieces of your story, versus just letting your imagination go crazy?
That's a good question.
Because I hear it.
Yeah.
I catch things. It's hard to catch. Even in the way your vocals are mixed, sometimes it's really hard to just catch shit.
Yeah.
And I kind of have to just surrender to the experience, just let it be what it is. And then eventually I'm on listen 3 or 4, I'm oh, that nigga said that.
Yeah. I think if there's a definitive experience in my life that I think that I've gotten through something, and I feel like it will be helpful for someone else that may be going through that, then I'll be more... I'll put more pieces of myself into the song. Mm-hmm. But I feel like there are very few songs that are 100% just all me, all what I'm thinking. It can be 90% and then 10% environmental things, but very few songs are just this is exactly what happened to me verbatim. I'm not really a storyteller, song storyteller, besides maybe a few songs I've written. I live more in the storytelling realm, in the fiction realm, I would say. But fiction based off of reality. I can come up with a story where someone is that definitely happened to you. And I'm just sure.
Yeah.
I never want, I'm not going to say never. I'll rarely
give a definitive
I'll
answer.
rarely explain my song. I hate explaining my songs. I'm just I said what I said. Whatever you want to get from it is what you get from it. Occasionally, if someone's what did you mean? You said this weird line. If it's a pun, I love explaining silly puns because I'm you didn't get that? Yeah. There you go. And then people are oh my God, I get it. So stuff like that I love explaining, but everything else I like leaving up to everyone else's interpretation.
I would watch every lyric breakdown video you do.
My goal is to do one of the Genius breakdowns because some of my lyrics, I put so many jokes into that I feel no one would get but me and maybe a couple other people if they're overanalyzing lyrics, which I do a lot. So I love people that overanalyze lyrics, and I'm just what do you got for me?
Workshopping yourself, if you took yourself to college. So we don't talk about me for an hour. Yeah, this is what I did with this.
Oh my God, I would destroy a Genius interview.
There's a bag in that for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, speaking about hit making, right? What frameworks and resources do you feel you need to sort of shift the climate towards what you're doing to make your work feel like the hit as opposed to chasing a hit?
You just have to know the right people, and funds are always definitely helpful.
Always, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't even when we were talking about Tyler. Tyler was putting out some weird ass creepy shit at first, and then he got weird in different ways. And there's a huge audience for that. That's the thing I've learned most about Odd Future is that there's an audience for everything. An audience for anything you could possibly dream of making. Someone will be into it, and you just have to find it and market it in the right way. So yeah, just how you market yourself, which is something I didn't always think about. I would be doing it, but not knowing what I was doing. I think I'm a little bit better at it now, and I feel every artist should know how to do it a little bit so they don't entirely rely on someone else to come up with their own image. But in order to shift into my music being hits.
Yeah, I know you swing for it, but you said like, having a hit would be dope, but it's not like you're gonna sit down and say, I'm gonna write a Billboard.
Yeah, I feel like I've written hits. I feel like I'm still writing hits. And if we're talking about like the broad realm of like have songs that can have like a bigger impact on the world and like be wide received, it's really just about the people hearing it, like getting it to the right people that can promote it and hear it. That's the only thing. I don't think you have to change anything within your music to make it. I don't know. I feel like we can just decide what is pop.
Right.
Especially
us.
Yeah, as black people, I feel like we decide what is popular, and then other people are like, "Oh shit,
I'm gonna do this shit.
That's
now.
cool. Let's do it."
Yeah. So I had a major case of FOMO recently because I missed y'all Sleeping Village show, and that makes me wonder, like, what would your dream crowd look like? Because I'm like, damn, if that show was sold out, I want to be in a room with these motherfuckers. Fuck with this, because like 300-something people like this. Like,
yeah.
So what does your dream crowd look like?
My dream crowd is a mix of all races, genders, ages. I would love to only play all ages show if I could all the time, but sometimes other things come up. But at a certain point, I'll get to that. Yeah, just all people that are there for the music, that are willing to cut loose, people that aren't just there to stand, people that like, well, you don't have to be like moshing the whole time, but people that are like grooving and people that are singing, just like passionate music lovers. That's that's who I want to perform for, people that love music and get moved by it, like, or allow themselves to be open to the idea of getting moved by a live show.
Yeah, passion is like a huge thing. Can I confess something to you right quick?
Yeah.
So I saw you and Sen on tour at the High Noon. I think it was maybe like 2 years ago now at this point. Madison, yeah. And you like literally ran the entire length of the venue. And we're like 5 minutes into performance. And I realized like I did a show in Madison and I took the fucking, it was a wireless mics are like dangerous as fuck. And I ran all up the stairs, looked over, niggas thought I was finna jump, I'm not crazy, and came down. I walked all the way out of the Union, back in when the beat dropped and ran into the mosh pit.
Yeah.
And niggas like, where you get that from? And I thought, I'm like, NNAMDI.
That's so dope.
I got that from NNAMDI.
Yeah, as soon as I start using a wireless mic, it's over.
Over with. This entire thing is the stage.
A lot of the things that prohibit me live is like fear of knocking things over, because I've done that so many times with chords. I've like unplugged all my bandmates' pedals like in the middle of songs, just like going crazy. So I've been like kind of restricting myself sometimes, just like, especially in different settings. The Sleeping Village show, I had like a laptop and my my keyboard and like a little MPC type thing. And my mic cable was so short, and I was very conscious about like
one
there's
false
a
move.
lot of gear on this stage, and I'm just like, I want to run around and be crazy, but it's like, at what cost?
Right, yeah. Literally, like, not some, this ain't some shit, like, this ain't no year later, it'll be okay.
Yeah, this is my laptop. This is like my most important possession. Like,
oh God, yeah.
I can't be fucking around. I don't have that type of money yet where I can just
MacBook, fuck it, bring another one.
I'll break it. I'll get a new one.
What sort of feelings come up for you when you get in that sort of space? Is it like cathartic? Is it just you're just unrestricted as possible?
Yeah, I think it's different from show to show, but I try to be as unrestricted as possible. But that's something I'm learning. That's something I'm learning, is to not let the environment like impact the performance, which most of the time I'm good at. But in situations like that, like where gear is a little wonky, or if like sound is weird to me, that has like sometimes has a huge effect on like how I perform. Just like being able to hear everything clearly is such a blessing and so much more rare than you would think, like touring and playing venues. I try to get to a point where I can just be free, but also I want to be able to sound good. And I feel like there's a balance for me where it's like a lot of my songs have a lot of words and it's like not screaming. Like if I was screaming the whole time, I could run around nonstop, but like moving around and like running around and trying to hit all the notes and all the words is a lot harder. which is why I'm trying to say less words so I can move around more. That's what most pop stars do. They don't say as many words as I say. I've realized over the past years, and that has influenced a little bit, like, recent things I've been writing. It's just, like, take into account, oh, I need to breathe, oh, I need to move around, and I can't do that if I'm, like, like,
yeah,
I can't hit them notes and, like, be doing jumping jacks and shit, too.
I peeped that on BRAT. Like, a lot of that songwriting, it's, like, way more compact, but
Yeah,
the intensity behind it.
There's more space, which is
yeah,
powerful in itself. Like,
what makes you a BRAT?
what makes me a brat? A lot of things. I feel like I'm very stubborn in my art. I don't listen to anyone.
Everybody says that, but do you act?
I don't listen to anyone except Glenn now. Like,
I thought you meant musically. My bad.
Oh, musically? No, I mean, like,
just come in like, I don't listen to nobody.
No, I listen to everybody. I listen to so much music. Yeah. Like, no, I fucking love listening to music. I mean, just like anyone's opinions on my music, okay. I don't listen to. Except Glenn recently, and even then, I'm just like, all right.
I heard you, but
yeah, sometimes I'm like that. But his opinion is like one of the few where I'm just like, I know you have my best interest in mind and aren't like being like, you should change your whole sound, because you can definitely like spot that from a mile away. So yeah, just like trying to be completely unapologetic with what I put out. I feel like that's kind of bratty. Also, the reason I chose the name BRAT, the album was going to be called Regarding Your Wants and Needs, but then I like rearranged some songs, took some off, and then added a couple more fun tracks onto it. So it kind of changed the vibe of the whole thing. Yeah, the whole experience writing the album and like deciding to do music full time kind of felt selfish to me in a world where there's just like so much fucked up shit going on politically and like all these diseases and like new fucking coronavirus, like all this shit.
I heard you cough earlier. I'm like, shit, there we go.
Yeah, there's like all of this like intense shit that needs like immediate action to change the world. So this is a conversation I have with a lot of my friends that make art in general. Sometimes it feels like a selfish thing to pursue art when
niggas can't eat.
Yeah, when people can't eat. And I know that's not true. I know it's not selfish to pursue art just because of how important art is to people.
Nor is it fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, nor is that fair. Yeah.
It's not a fair thought process to have, but a lot of people that make art think that. A lot of people that are empathetic and make art have that, where they're just like, fuck, like, I'm doing this shit.
I'm taking this press photo and it's a wildfire here. A cop shot someone over here.
So, yeah.
And, yeah.
That's, I would say, is the majority of what BRAT is about. Just, like, kind of feeling selfish for pursuing things that you know deep down you need to do, but, like, seems not as important in the grand scheme of the world.
But y'all better not be selfish. Y'all better go cop that.
Go cop that shit right
out
now.
The store, out the VMP store.
There's a lot of other factors, and like just relationships and how I communicate with people too, and just trying to be better at like the isolation thing, knowing that there are people, even if I don't want to see any people, there are people that like, I would like to see you. And I'm just like, okay, I got to make time for people that are trying to make time for me. Yeah.
There are two things for BRAT that come up for me explicitly. There's an energy where it's like a lot of songs are about getting what the fuck you want. Like the price went up.
Yeah.
Like gimme,
yeah,
give it
important.
to me. Right. There's that. But then there's like, to what you're speaking of, there's a lot of untangling feelings. Like you speak about maybe you're jaded. Like maybe you are lonely. You need to go take some time to just reach out to folks. Like or taking moments to recover and like knowing when you need. There's a whole song about it being okay to not be okay. So like. With these two sort of poles, like on the same spectrum, like could you speak to the determination side and to the recovery sort of side?
Yeah, and if you make music, you have to you have to just know your self-worth and know what you deserve, or like come up with something you think you deserve, because people will try to take advantage of your time and your art too, and not treat it like it's like a valid thing, even though a lot of artists put their whole, I'll just speak for myself. I put everything I make goes back into music. Like, I don't have any other, I'm not interested in any other thing. I have like slight hobbies I get into, but this is like, it's like my obsession, my whole world, my life. So like every ounce of money I make either goes to food, survival, and putting it back into music somehow.
You got some drip too, though. Like, let's not act like the drip wasn't.
Yeah, but on majority, it's cheap though. Like, sometimes I'll splurge and get some baller if it like fits how I'm feeling, but I thrift a lot. I like on tour, I'll always pack a little less because I know I'm like gonna go thrifting and get some clothes. So yeah, I don't spend that much money on clothes or anything either. It's really just food and music. So to have like all of your funds that you are working to go back into the thing that you're doing, it's just like, this is my world. Like, you have to treat it as important as it is to you, you know? And I feel like I was a little timid and shy about that growing up doing like DIY shit. Because in the punk community, like, everyone's just like, you charged money for this. Everything should be $5. And
it's like, nigga, you think I just got here for free?
I'm just like, what is this, the 1930s? Like, everything $5.
You should be grateful that we're even going to come and eat these pancakes.
Yeah.
NNAMDI.
Just like,
fuck wrong with you?
I bought those pancakes with my money. Like,
that's so capitalistic of you. Nigga, we're in capitalism. We are.
Yeah. And I try to be mindful of how I think and talk about money, but I'm not going to act like I don't want or need it.
Accessibility is a conversation we can have of how to, like, you know, navigate around capitalism. But at the end of the day, like, I can't argue with the landlord on the first, because then you'll be out by the sixth.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I try to bring an importance to people getting paid for their art. Like, you should get paid for your art. You should get paid for your work you do for other people. I try to pay everyone I work with fairly. Like, anytime someone tells me their rate, if I can't pay it, I'm like, I can't pay it. But usually, I just pay it. Like, if this is what you think you deserve, then who am I to disagree? Like, with, I don't know. Like, I can say, I don't want to pay that much for it, but I can't be like, you don't deserve that much for your art.
Less,
you know?
like, it's me. Come on.
Yeah. So that's where the decisiveness in getting what you want and getting what you need come in the album. What was the other question?
Like, to the recovery side, to the care side.
Yeah. So on that topic of like looking towards funds and like trying to get money and trying to pop in music, whatever that means, it's really easy to forget about all the other shit. It's really easy to like become so focused on like, I gotta record these songs, I gotta make this album because like I gotta make this money, I gotta move on, like I gotta get my songs and whatever. It's really easy to lose sight of like, oh, my friends have been like hitting me up to hang out. Like, my friends want to go play pool. They ask me like every week for a month, and I'm just like, I gotta record. It's like, why? Like, take a break and go hang out with your friends.
Are
like,
you a human being or not?
Yeah.
Like,
and that's something I struggle with. Like, even when I go out sometimes, I'll be thinking about like, all right, I have this idea for a song. I'm like, I can't wait to get out of this party.
Like,
I can't wait to get out of this bullshit party and go record this
voice memo
song.
finna slap when I get outside.
Sometimes, I'll leave parties. I would leave class sometimes just because I had an idea and like recording my voice memo, like walking around campus, like be in the stall at the bathroom taking a dump and just be like, idea for a new song. It's crazy. You can't do that all the time. Like, you have to have a balance, you know?
It's like, you gotta wipe first. Like, take the voice memo after you wipe and wash your hands. Like, damn, dog.
And wiping with my phone on accident.
Oh, no. Yo, it's case or no case.
Just flush the whole thing. But yeah, it's very important to have balance as an artist. And something I learned firsthand is how obsessive I can be with a project I'm really into. Mm-hmm. Like I love punishing myself. I love it. Like I'll be recording for like 10 hours straight and just like know I have to pee like towards the end of it. And I'll just be like, nah, just let me just like do this. Let me mix a couple more things. And the bathroom will literally be like 5 feet away. And I'll be like, nah, let me just do this. I got to finish this thing before I pee. Like it's a reward or something, like a dog treat for doing.
That's the craziest shit. It's like,
it's so crazy.
I'm hungry as fuck. It'll feel better when I'm done with this.
The thing is, I forget about food completely until like I won't eat all day. And then it'll be like 2 a.m. and I'll be like, why am I angry? Like all of a sudden I'll just be like, why am I so mad? And I'm like, oh yeah. It's that thing you do all the time where you just like don't eat.
Incentivize.
And then you're like, fuck, I gotta eat right now.
Yeah, that's the wild shit. Like to me, I like realize like people say, I forgot to eat. And I'm like, how the fuck do you do that? Then I'm like, oh, mid-20s. Oh shit, that's really easy to do.
Yeah. It's like if you're working on something you're into or like that is taking up all your mental energy, it's real easy to do. So yeah, did I answer the question?
Yeah.
Okay,
definitely.
cool. So I feel like I go on tangents all the time.
No, I love it. You love it though. That's what good convo is for.
I got back to the point.
So yeah, and to the point again, that brought up something else we wanted to ask you. You spoken about like having first gen pressure to work hard and succeed, and how you got your electrical engineering degree?
Electrical engineering, yeah.
Yeah, you pushed through that even when it wasn't like the tightest thing for you. You struggled because you wanted to pursue music, but it's like, oh, that's stupid, or oh, that's not going to get you money. And now you really jumped off. Like you're doing this. This is what you do. So like with your recent strides and successes that you've had, have any of those pressures kind of subsided or eased as you've grown up and gotten a hold on what you're doing? Like, what does your family think of it now?
They're supportive now. I feel like we've both me and my parents have all gone through like our own separate growths in this area. So I think they see the work that I'm putting in now. Whereas before I was unsure, and that uncertainty came. It was kind of like a cycle thing. The uncertainty wasn't as much in me as it was from outside sources, which caused me to think like, maybe this isn't a good idea. Maybe this isn't a good idea. When truly down, I was like, this is what I want to do. Mm-hmm. So I'd always like second guess myself. And I think just like growing up and becoming an adult and realizing, no, this is what I need to do. Like I can't even my parents, like I can't listen to them if I'm going to be doing something that makes me feel horrible. Like I can't do that. I have to do something that brings me joy every day. I have to do something that I wake up and I'm excited to get involved with. There's less pressure for sure now that I'm not asking them for rent money. They're like, he hasn't asked for rent money in a year. He must be doing
track
good.
Of that shit. Yo, look, the parents will keep track of that.
Yeah,
but let them hold a little something. And you're like, yeah, you said 2 weeks. Let me get it back. It's like all the things I did for you.
I raised you. You came out of my vagina.
Did you pay rent any of them years you live in this house? Yeah,
I'm gonna need all the background from 18 years.
You about to be on people's court, all kind of shit. Yeah. So, last question that I have for you. I would just scroll the comments of your videos, and there'll be folks that are super invested in what you're doing and saying, I met NNAMDI like 7 years ago at this house and it was fantastic. And then another comment be like, I met him 5 years at this thing.
Makes me feel so old.
Damn, yeah. But not even though, yeah. When you put in that type of time, it's like, well, should I feel old? But then like, you still in the 20s? Like, that's not about shit.
I don't care about age, honestly.
You really like
making shit, regardless.
Yeah. You're like curating something there. It's like people are taking that long time to invest and see you grow, and grow is you grow.
Yeah.
So knowing that you kind of value this solitude and value your own thoughts, but you still have to be a person in some sort of a public sphere. You have to go out to the cribs. You have to go to the venues. You have to sometimes take the pictures or have the conversations, right? Like, how do you take care of yourself in the scheme of all that?
I think I'm very blessed to just be making music and like to be slowly getting to a point where I'm more comfortable because of music. I think a rare thing. I'm not big or popping like superstar status or any of that, like even close, but just to get to the point where I can sustain myself making art is like such a beautiful blessing, because a lot of people that want to don't even get to that point and like will give up before they get there. So I know how lucky I am, and I try to stop and take a look at that at every chance I get. Like, oh, you made it this far? Oh, that blog that you always wanted to be in, they finally wrote about you. Oh, that festival you always wanted to play, you finally get to play it. Like, I try to, it's hard to do sometimes when you're like, I gotta get to the next thing, which I'm kind of always like trying to be on the incline. So I have to like force myself to stop and like just appreciate the dope shit that's happened to me, even if it's small to some, it's big to me, like in the moments. So.
Are you playing Pitchfork as well this year?
I'm not playing Pitchfork this year.
Oh, okay, no. So
unless Kaina wants me to play tambourine for a set.
You're going to pop out probably. Like, that's what you do.
It'll be my fourth. If I do play, it'll be my 4th year in a row, which is crazy.
That's fire.
Yeah.
What does longevity look like knowing that you've done so much to get here?
Longevity looks like just being able to support other people. I think that's how you know, like, when you finally like made it to a point as an artist, is if you can just like influence other people, or just like, let me put my name on that, and then it helps someone like
come up.
It's like, yeah, just like being able to help other people more like easily and just more is, I feel like, what longevity is. Just like building definitely a community, and like building a kind of legacy for yourself where you can look back and be proud of.
All right. Well, thank you so much, NNAMDI, for pulling up on me. Appreciate you so much.
Thank you. This was fun.
It's another good convo. It's in the books right now. Shout out Tightrope. Shout out Jonah in the cut. Shout out all
Shout
Sooper.
out Jason from where?
Jason from who?
Jason Wilmette.
Jason. Oh no, Jordan from Wilmette. Shout out Jordan from Wilmette.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was trying to do a callback, but my brain was broke.
Shout out every black kid at the indie show.
Yes.
Love y'all. We out here.
Love you.
Love you so much. And make sure you go get that BRAT.
Get
it's
BRAT.
available in the
right
VIP store right now. NNAMDI
Pre-order right now.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This was great.
Fire. Good convo. Michael Penn II, Crash Press, rapper with a podcast. We out this thing.
Yeah.
1. This has been the Good Convo podcast, as brought to you by Vinyl Me Please. Host and executive producer Michael Penn II, aka Crash Press. Executive producer Amileah Sutliff. Recording and post-production by Jonah Graber. Original theme song produced by knowsthetime. Store if I tried, tell him store if I'm focused, man. And it's still invoice boys word count. Click to the check drop. Period.